In this video, is Bitcoin replicating the previous market cycle? Well, stay tuned to know more. So hi guys, and welcome back to another Gab's cryptocurrency video where we trade by data and not by hype. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, click the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out videos like this. Do you want to learn the strategy that I use for my day-to-day trading? Then make sure to check out our Gaps Crypto 101 playlist. You can start learning how to trade in the cryptocurrency market all for free, and the link is available in the description down below. And if you want to start opening an account with any crypto trading platform, make sure to trade this guys with PHEMEX and BYBIT, as they have one of the lowest fees possible in the cryptocurrency market. And if you use our affiliate links, you can get up to 20,000 US dollars of bonuses when you are going to deposit with those trading platforms, and the links are available in the description down below. So now let's dive into this video. So yeah, today we are going to talk about two things which I wanted to cover, and that is number one, is Bitcoin repeating the previous market cycle, and the number two, what does this mean for the short term with the Bitcoin price action, especially that generally speaking Q4 or the fourth quarter is usually the time wherein we usually see Bitcoin create new all-time highs and see a big profit for the crypto market. So yeah, the first things first that I wanted to discuss first here is Bitcoin repeating the previous market cycle. Well, the main thing that I wanted to show you guys is how the market cycle top panned out in the previous market cycle. So let's discuss the two previous market cycle wherein we saw Bitcoin saw its all-time high, and then after that that has signified the bear market. So number one, the first things first that we want to look at here is the previous market cycle. So if you're going to look at the previous market cycle, we saw first Bitcoin creating multiple peaks. So we saw the first peak, we then saw the second peak, we then tried forming the third peak, and then after that we saw that bear market. But this is what I want to show you guys. So if you're going to zoom in this Bitcoin price action, you would find that in the previous market cycle, we saw Bitcoin perform a new all-time high around this 59,000 US dollars, and then we saw a decline after that movement. So as you can see, after that movement, we saw a decline back to the current bull market support band, and then after that we made the recovery. But take a look at this guys, in this recovery we made a new all-time high around the 69,000 US dollars. And the reason why I wanted to show you guys is because of this movement wherein we saw that increasing price. At the same time, the RSI has also declined, and you would find that in this declining movement, in this declining RSI, you would have seen that the RSI have peaked multiple times, but it has been declining multiple times as well in the weekly time frame, for the weekly time frame Bitcoin RSI. And on top of that, if you are going to zoom in this movement in the daily time frame, on the first peak we saw Bitcoin forming multiple price actions wherein we were seeing that increasing price while RSI was declining. So if we are going to zoom into that movement, you would find that we have seen that increasing price while RSI is declining in the daily time frame. That has signified the first downtrend. So that has signified the first downtrend, and then after forming that first downtrend, only then we saw that new all-time high coming in. So how does this compare with the current Bitcoin market cycle? So if you are going to open the current chart right now with the Bitcoin price action, so let's go back to the weekly time frame. So in the weekly time frame, we are seeing that increasing price while RSI is declining. So you would find that it is still continuing, and at the same time, similar to what we have seen in the previous market cycle, we have seen this RSI declining in the weekly time frame. So right now, there is a big possibility hinting that this could be a potential replication of the previous market cycle. Now, will this 100% go to the downside already? Well, right now, to discuss that is we have to check out this RSI, because if this Bitcoin RSI breaks this resistance, then of course this is going to invalidate this overall analysis. So right now, what you need to monitor within the next few weeks is the weekly time frame if it's going to break this RSI resistance. And similarly, just like in the previous market cycle, where in the first stop we saw a declining RSI and a bearish divergence in the daily time frame, we also saw those similar movements with the Bitcoin price action with this increasing price. And yeah, if you're going to look at this closely, we have seen those increasing price while RSI has been declining. So those have formed those smaller bearish divergences in the daily time frame. So we have been seeing those divergences playing out for the shorter time frame, both in the daily time frame and then right now in the weekly time frame. It is now right now forming a much bigger warning. So right now, we, even though if let's say we can still be bullish in the short term, but if you're going to look at the longer time frame for the long term, right now it's not looking very bullish right now with the Bitcoin price action, not unless this Bitcoin RSI resistance is invalidated. Now, if you are going to compare the other market cycle, you can argue that Bitcoin continued increasing, and then after that it made a parabolic move. However, the main difference with this one is, even though we have seen Bitcoin increasing, the RSI, as you can see, didn't decline further. Rather, we saw a continuation of an increase with the RSI. So right now, what Bitcoin really needs to do if we want to see a bullish scenario with the Bitcoin price action is it has to break the weekly time frame RSI, which is right now we are not yet currently seeing. So right now, if you're going to follow the two historical market cycles, the RSI is a very crucial thing for this current Bitcoin market cycle, because it will determine if this will signify the end of the bull market or the end of the current market cycle, or if it's going to see a parabolic move. And right now, looking at the current charts, right now what I'm showing you guys is just the charts. Looking at the charts, it's right now indicating that it's more likely going to replicate the previous market cycle, but let's see within the coming weeks if this gets invalidated. But yeah, right now it looks like it's replicating the previous market cycle. And take note, guys, if you want to take advantage of this next big Bitcoin move, make sure to trade this, guys, with BYBIT and PHEMEX, because BYBIT and PHEMEX has one of the lowest trading fees. If you want to sign up with those platforms, make sure to use our sign up link, which you can find in the description down below. But going back, the other thing that I wanted to discuss is within the shorter time frame, because what I mentioned to you guys is just for the bigger time frame. Now, when it comes to the short term, even though that we are seeing a very big bearish signs for the long term, it doesn't mean that we are not going to see a bull market for the short term. In fact, that is very possible. Whenever that we are seeing a bigger bearish divergence or a bigger time frame bearish signal, it can somewhat form a short-term bull market. In fact, if you're going to look at this intra market cycle volatility, if you're going to zoom in further, you can argue that an even though if we are in a downtrend, either way we are still going to see those potential ups and downs, wherein people could say that that could be a bull market for the short term. But as you can see, guys, even if let's say in the bigger time frame we are bearish, it is still possible for us to see a pumps within the smaller time frame. So that is what we have to take note, and you can still take advantage of those smaller time frame movements. But if you are a long-term investor, then generally it's not a good time for you to invest. But if let's say you are going to trade the smaller time frames, then of course it is a good thing to do, because as you can see, intra market cycle volatility happens day to day and week on a weekly basis. So of course that is not something new to the crypto market. Now, with that being said, how is Bitcoin going to pan out within the next few days for the short term? Well, with that being said, let's now dive into this chart and let's try to look at the certain indicators. So basically in the RSI alone, it's looking like Bitcoin is hinting a Bitcoin overbought territory. So that is indicating that it's not right now to open more long positions with the Bitcoin price action, diving in with the 4-hour time frame. As what I mentioned in the previous video, what we have to wait out for in this 4-hour time frame is for Bitcoin to form a bearish divergence. And right now, you can argue right now that right now Bitcoin is starting to form somewhat of a small bearish divergence, but right now, in order for this to be a very big significant effect divergence, it has to continue this divergence much further. So what I am expecting right now is for Bitcoin to continue this movement, and then the more that we form that divergence, only then we can see Bitcoin is going to see a massive drop or a massive crash to the downside. But right now, it is still too early for us to confirm that this is a bearish divergence, because right now it is still forming. So within the next few days, we have to monitor if Bitcoin is going to form a bearish divergence. If it has started forming, then that is the time wherein we are going to open a short position. So right now, since it is still forming and it is not yet confirmed, we are not yet going to trade this. So as of the time being, I am not going to trade this. I am going to wait this one out to form. And yeah, that is what I am going to do with the current market, with the current price action with Bitcoin. And generally speaking, I don't expect yet Bitcoin to go down within the next few hours. It's more likely going to continue this uptrend, but it's more likely going to be somewhat of a consolidation. It can form new all-time high, but right now, what I'm now waiting for is for this divergence to form. I'm not going to chase this pump, because looking at the bigger time frame, it's very dangerous for us to trade this overbought territory Bitcoin. So yeah, right now I'm going to wait for this one to form within the next few days. So that's all for today. If you find this video useful and informative, please give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye for now.